What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with some Overwatch commentary. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about an issue that's starting to creep up with the game, with the Overwatch community. And that is basically the argument of whether or not high skill cap heroes should be nerfed or buffed based on how good someone becomes with that hero. There's been a lot of stuff going on with Overwatch over the last year with Blizzard trying to balance the game, in my opinion, more so for casual players and people that are less skilled. This is pretty indicative by the way they've been bringing in new heroes like Brigitte and Moira in the last couple of months, and just focusing more on reworks and things that are making heroes much easier to play and much more effective with a lower skill cap, almost as if they're trying to just appeal to the broader audience of the game instead of having people actually have to get good at a certain hero to be able to play well in the game. And this sort of came to a head earlier this week when Sabiobi, one of the players for the New York Excelsior, made a comment about how at the higher level play and higher level games, where like Widowmaker is becoming a bit of an issue, because he said, it's gotten to the point where the only way you can counter Widow now is with having your own Widowmaker on your team that's very skilled, and that she's just becoming too good for the game. I disagree completely with what he said, and then of course a lot of the bigger Overwatch YouTubers and some of the community are jumping on this, saying Widowmaker needs to be nerfed and she's too good and the one-shot kills and all that other stuff. And I look at this and I'm kind of like, well, she is a sniper and she should be effective somehow in the game. If that's her main kit, is being able to have that one-shot kill ability from a long distance. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I am terrible at Widowmaker, as my gameplay is going to indicate, but as I've said in the past, I don't hide bad gameplay from anybody on my channel, but I fully admit I'm terrible at Widowmaker. I get real streaky with her, and I go from being mediocre to hot garbage with her most of the time, but I'm still trying to learn how to play her, and I'm old, and my mechanical skill is like completely gone, so it's kind of tough. I used to play Sniper a lot in Battlefield 3 and Halo back in the OG Halo days, but in middle age that I've gotten to, my my mechanical skills are not quite what they used to be. So anyways, I just wanted to have her in the video since that's what I was talking about, but that's just to kind of give you guys an idea. However, despite this, I can appreciate those that are really, really good with her. When I get into a match and there's a Widowmaker on the other team who is just destroying us, I don't get upset, because I know that person most likely has spent a lot of time honing their skills, getting their aim to a point where they can hit those headshots consistently. I have no issues whatsoever with high skill cap heroes and with people getting to a point where they can dominate a game with them because they've gotten so good. It's kind of like the argument with Genji and Tracer, two heroes that I've also tried to play and had mixed success on, but I think Genji and Tracer are two characters that when they are played by a very skilled player, they can be really annoying and seem overpowered, but it's not because their kit is overpowered, it's mainly because the person playing them has gotten really skilled. And unfortunately, we've seen nerfs to some of these characters because they get too good at a certain point, and a large majority of the community who's simply not that skilled will complain about it. So I think the same thing's starting to happen with Widowmaker. And just another thing too is Sabiobi is playing in games with probably the top 1% or less of all Overwatch players. The GM and top 500 ranks in this game is literally less than 1% of the entire player base of Overwatch. And even Master is a small percentage too. The fact is that Widowmaker is not an issue. Pretty much in Diamond and below, and maybe even in Master to an extent. You simply aren't going to play with people that are that good at her. And, also with Sabiobi being an Overwatch League, it's kind of another thing there, because they're playing on special servers, there's no latency in the game, and the people there, like I said, who are playing Widowmaker are probably like the top 10 players in the world on Widowmaker. So obviously you're going to have ridiculous duels with her, and have her dominating the game when people can aim that well. But I think overall there's a bigger problem right now with Overwatch that's allowing Widowmaker to become so good at certain times, and almost a must-pick in some cases, and that's the fact that you simply cannot dive her anymore. They've made all these strides to kind of get rid of dive comp in the game, and now Widowmaker is able to dominate because you simply cannot go after her. They've made so many changes that have allowed her to become dominant, such as having Brigitte back there. She can stun any of the tanks that try to dive in. The new Hanzo is really the biggest problem because with his Storm Arrow, which is probably the most overpowered ability in the game right now, he can literally melt a 500 hit point tank in seconds. Add that to his Zenyatta Discord Orb, and basically if you're Winston or D.Va trying to jump in there and dive the Widowmaker, you're gonna melt in seconds. And that's really the biggest problem with Overwatch right now, is they have just gone so anti-dive with some of these characters and made some of these characters so easy and overpowered to play for lesser skilled players that it's allowing certain other characters to dominate the meta. And that's really the problem right now I see. I don't think the Widowmaker is an issue. I think it's just the way they've built the game up around her. And so it's very, very difficult now, unless you have a skilled Widowmaker on your team to counter the enemy Widow from a distance, you're simply not going to be able to touch her. One of the things you can do is sort of go full shield barrier comp and run a Reinhardt and a Symmetra and an Orisa and just try to keep your team protected from her, because you're not going to get close to her to be able to take her out. And that's really the biggest issue with her in general right now. So I don't think Widowmaker needs a nerf at all. Like I said, I respect and appreciate anyone who has gotten really good with her skill-wise. And like I said, I also don't think this problem plagues the majority of the player base. I think it's only like the top 1% really that's dealing with these issues right now, where it's like a must-pick to have Widow in your game every single time. These issues simply don't exist at the lower ranks. They just don't. Mostly because teams aren't coordinated enough to put anything together like this when you're talking about, you know, gold and platinum and diamond and even below. Teams simply do not have the communication or the coordination, especially in solo queue, to make any of this stuff a problem. But the overall problem here really is that Blizzard just continues to try to push this game towards a less skilled player base. It's almost like they want people to have fun and not have to worry about getting really good on a character. I think it's one of the reasons we saw the changes go through for Hanzo, which made him incredibly overpowered with his Storm Arrow and some of the other things that he's got going on. And now you're going to see him be nerfed accordingly, unfortunately. But that just seems to be Blizzard's MO now, is let's put something out there that's really super powerful, and then we're going to nerf it again and make everybody complain. But I think Overwatch has got a lot of issues right now, and definitely I don't want to see the skill aspect of the game be removed, because I think that's the thing. Once you work really, really hard and you get really good on a character, to see them nerf it, even though you've spent a lot of time developing the skill to play them, I just think that's a bad thing for the game. And again, I also think, you know, we can take the pros. Obviously, the pros are allowed to have a say in the game, and you know, they're playing at the highest level and they know a lot more than we do. But at the same time, you can't balance the game for less than 1% of the player base. I know other games do that and have done well, but I don't really think Overwatch is a game where they can definitely you know, nerf and buff based on the top 1% of the player base. I don't think that's going to help things at all. Anyways, guys, just kind of a ramble video. I've been hearing a lot of stuff about you know, Overwatch lately, where they're trying to eliminate the sort of high skill cap heroes and nerf them. And some of the stuff about Widowmaker I was seeing this week just made me want to make this video and kind of give my opinion on the whole matter. And like I said, I don't think Widowmaker is a problem in Overwatch right now. I think the issue, again, is just the fact that they've built up so many characters around her. They've made it almost impossible to dive her in just about any situation. So that's my take on things. You guys may have your own opinion, and if you do, feel free to put it down below in the comments. And again, I apologize for my utterly awful Widowmaker gameplay, but I'm practicing, and you just have to get better with her. And I guess that's, you know, that's what happens when you're playing on a high skill hero. You have to kind of earn the skills to be good with them. So that's gonna do it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I hope you're having a great day. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you again next time.